J4, Christian, thanks very much for tuning in again, Amiga de Alpha. This is the first time I'm doing an interview with someone that, obviously on camera, that's done the program, that's been doing the program. Before he did the program, was already in very good shape, and somebody that I respect in a lot of areas of his life. So, when I was like, look, I'm going to start doing case studies, I want to get people's feedback on it. When he was like, yeah, I'd be up for that, I was like, you're a good starting point. But it's interesting over the course of 2 months you've been doing it, to kind of maybe three, yeah, to hear the sort of feedback. It's not just about the results; it's about other elements that he's garnered from doing the course with me, and it's stuff that I personally have a big affinity with, but it's not for everyone. So I think it's better off just to introduce you. So tell them who you are.
My name is Alard Yap van Sandrink. That's my full name. I'm from the Netherlands.
You're doxing yourself. Awesome.
I'm sorry?
Doxing yourself. Getting your full information.
Yeah.
You're fucked now. They're gonna look up you.
I'm trying also to be transparent about my age, which is
because you stopped doing that though.
I started to be transparent again. So I became 40 this year. And
can you show your hair, please, just so they can see? That's how you know you became 40. That's what happened when I became 40. It's like, wow, the roots are already growing in.
Yeah, it's growing fast.
Mine doesn't have that.
I'm taking extra hair vitamins to get it off again.
Okay, yeah.
We met here in Valencia, where I live myself as well with my family, and I'm here now for about 5 years. And one of the very cool things I like about Valencia is that it has a really nice focus on outside life, and outside life comes with sports.
Yeah,
and I think this is where we had a good connection as well.
In fact, I think the first time we met, you came to a house party, a Halloween house party, without your partner, who I've never met.
Yeah, I was a bit shy back then because I didn't know you guys, and Adriana sent me to your place.
She literally said,
they're cool people. And I was like, okay.
But I was there with a whole Ken get up with the fake hair, completely waxed my body and everything.
Yeah,
quite introduction.
We still had a good connection. So
great.
I thought it was your.
You've modeled yourself on that first appearance. Clearly, that's what it is.
Yes. So, so that's a bit about my background and.
Okay, can you? So let's just talking very specifically about fitness. So, what have you been doing? The majority of the time with reference to fitness, and where do you feel have you seen the most benefits? And let's admit for a moment with Amiga de Alpha. Let's just kind of talk about in general your experience with fitness.
Well, I was always very interested in sports from a young age.
Did you play sports?
Yeah, I played sports. Like the Netherlands, we do a lot of field hockey, which is very popular. Football. Tennis. Basketball.
Do you do any of this stuff now? Not really.
Yeah, well, I'm doing some basketball. I have sometimes some football as well. But field hockey is something I totally ditched out because I think my mother, my parents really liked it, but I didn't really like the sport.
What you mean, like you were that good that you were potentially considering?
Yeah, well, I was playing for the nationals as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was in a high team. We won the Dutch championship a couple of times.
Jesus. As well. Okay. Have you got the trophies with you?
I still have some trophies at home.
Nice.
And I always it's a good bar story, I think.
Yeah. I've never heard it, so yeah.
But I also used to play quite on a high competitive level with football as well. Somewhere I always had this dream about becoming a good football professional player.
Yeah.
But back then it was just different. I wasn't really focused, and I didn't have like the right guidance. I think I had some talent for it because I played for some higher league teams as well.
Yeah.
But also when I got 15, 16, and some guys who were the guys who were also a bit talented made a choice. Either you go smoke weed and go to parties and mess around with girls,
enjoy life.
You focus on the football thing, and I choose the other path.
Yeah.
So that was also the time where sports were mainly leaving my life a bit.
Right. And what age was this?
16? Around 16, 17, 18. You start to drink a lot, going out, on.
Well, that was our generation. I don't know how it is now, but for sure. And funny enough, having met some professional footballers in a previous life almost, they're this is maybe 10 years ago, the ones that were successful went to the clubs, didn't drink a drop of alcohol, like basically had women in their lives that were almost like mothers to them, like giving them direction and giving them guidance and kind of parameters to live within. Because I mean, when you get that much fame and that much money super quick, if you don't have that level of guidance, you will just go off the rails, you know. So
but, I mean, it's also about, for example, I was playing for a football team back then, but it took me about 45 minutes to get there by bike.
Right.
So
by the time you got
and it was
there,
quite an exercise. But I didn't have any proper food. I mean, that was mainly because I was a bit in between my mother and my father's place back then, and they were divorced. My mother did her thing, my father did his thing. So I was a bit in between. Didn't have like a real parenthood guidance
structure, right.
And then if my daughter or my kid would take a 45-minute exercise, I would definitely say something like, okay, well, if you're going to do another exercise, football or whatever, an hour afterwards, get some protein, some healthy things in you, so you have the energy in your body. And I had when I was a young age, had a lot of muscle injuries as well. So now I understand, because I just overloaded my system. And like I said, between 18 and I think 25, 26, I was mainly focusing on drinking, partying, and doing stupid things. But back then,
but you were still doing the sports whilst obviously. But
I did a bit. No, I did a bit. I always had periods of like 2 or 3 months that I gained too much weight.
Right.
And I started to try to restyle my life.
Right. Yeah. I mean, this is the thing that I've gravitated towards.
And I moved around. So then you started a new subscription at a gym. You know. And then
you're fully invested. 2 months.
No program.
Like, see ya.
Nothing.
I want to use every piece of equipment.
No knowledge. And then you just you make your round, all the different machines. I mean, so ignorant, you know. But
that, sorry to squeeze in Amiga Alpha, but I mean, the reason I made this and the reason I set any of this stuff up is purely because my experience was the same as yours. In the sense of I was very dedicated. I was very like into the thing that I was doing, but you know, I was receiving conflicting bits of information from everything that I was engaging with because I was so into that world. So if I was reading men's health or men's fitness or whatever, they'd have conflicting, you know, programs and disciplines and why this works and why this doesn't work or whatever every single month. So I'd be like, kind of like you with the mum and dad, I'm like pulled into 2 different directions. I don't know what I'm doing. So when I went into a gym, it was that ignorance, it was that naivety that meant that I would just do the thing psychologically that I thought was best, which is push harder and then no rest, go again. But when I say no rest, I mean I was resting between the sets because that's what was prescribed to me through a lot of these programs, like 60-second rest or 3-minute rest if you're doing this type of lifts or whatever. And I'm not saying that science doesn't ring true, but again, for what I've found practically and over the last 10 years training other people, is that is a very specific way of training. I don't think it's very efficient, and you know, we'll talk about that later. But upon basically doing that type of training, I ended up getting the same muscle issues, pains, tennis elbows, all like my ligaments and tendons were really sore, and I wasn't developing. I'd have a nice pump right afterwards, but then I wouldn't get the benefits from the rest because I wouldn't rest. And you would be doing the poser muscles more than anything else because, you know, who does legs?
But exactly, that's trying what I'm trying to explain as well, is that you have this youth where you do a lot of exercise, a lot of sports, which makes you, maybe that's a bit beneficial as well, because the foundation of your growing up is about sports. So every time when I had periods without sports, I felt a bit guilty, you know.
Right. So you had to do something.
Yeah, so I started to do something, but when you do something without guidance or without knowledge, you get every time you walk into a wall, you know. You block yourself.
Sorry, let me just check your mic. We're good, we're green.
And so the main thing is for me as well, and that started my late 20s. How am I going to use my sport mentality and bring it to a good, healthy sport lifestyle structure? And like you said, same for me. You start to read like the daily magazines, and or you scrape down the internet trying to find some
new wave
inspiration
of,
or whatever. And then eventually, I think when I was beginning 30, I started to
figure out,
or understand things,
comprehend
about protein, about compound overload, about body weight exercises. And then, of course, you had the COVID period where you needed to do things at home.
Exactly,
And
that was my heyday. I was like, I'm built for this. I've been doing this.
I think we're trying to find the background of the program you've set. But I think the COVID period was a good time as well to learn about another way of sporting instead of only doing the machines and the weights, you know?
Because I'm out of necessity.
And if I look back, I mean, now I'm really happy how I look, and how I do my sports. Today we did an exercise together, and I didn't know if you were watching me, but I didn't had any transpiration. It was 30 degrees outside, so that's something about your stretch and your limit. And the first time when we started, I was like soaking wet.
You're getting healthier and fitter and more capable.
And so you're getting more fitter, more healthier. What's the name in English? Your stamina.
Yes. I mean, we'll talk about it, but a lot of this stuff is about building the CO2 output as much as it is about activating more fast twitch type 2 muscle fibers. So, and today is a perfect example because we were all together training.
It was good.
And it was good. And then, it's still the same workouts I did on Tuesday. And but when you've got people with you, and there'll be other people that will sit down with who have a similar kind of, they love the training, but they like to do it with other people. It helps, just screaming the numbers like 1, 2, you being a troll with the music, it all helps, like it all makes a difference for, the community, the idea that we'll kind of train together. And again, going to the kind of ethos behind Amygdala Alpha, we're all alphas. There's no one there who is like, I may prescribe the programs, but I don't see myself in any way, shape or form as in front of you. I'm being succumbed to the same program, and we're all in it together.
It's funny because the thing is that your program, like you said before, I was already quite active in sports before we started, but and there was already an idea of what I was doing, and now from everything that I've learned from the past 10 years, I see bits of that in your program. Like one very important thing is that we haven't spoken before is that the variation you put in. So in the week, we have quite a focus on the same groups, the same muscular groups. But then the other week again, you switch it completely. And then that's a theory that
you get in the algorithm.
You shock your system. And that's exactly what you want. You want to shock your system. And that's maybe a big difference as well with the gym. When you go to the gym, you have your Mondays and your Wednesdays or your Thursdays when you do the bench press, but you do them every week.
Exactly.
So maybe you can lift up the weight a bit and you do 1 or 2 reps less, but it's different than when you do this or you do this. So
not to bring our age into it, but the reality is as you are getting older, in spite of getting like, dad strength, like the aim of increasing the overload through weight is a very bad idea for your ligaments and joints as you're getting older. So the idea is just to, and I use this as a reference yesterday before the video cut off. It's like if you throw somebody who doesn't know how to swim into a pool, they will use every muscle they can to keep themselves afloat. If you throw someone who's been swimming their entire lives in a pool, they'll just glide, and they use very little. Your body will always try and find the shortcut. So if you keep on doing the same exercise, even if you're lifting a really heavy weight, your ligaments and tendons are screwed, but you're using less and less of your the main agonist and antagonist muscle fibers because they're finding shortcuts. They're building more neural pathways and transmitters so that it does is like, we don't need all that muscle. We'll just use this one and this one. So if you become super efficient at something, but so what? You can do that, I think for me, it's always
I'm impressed by your knowledge in this because
I'm a level 4 qualified personal trainer.
Maybe that's the reason. But I mean, I really appreciate it because, like I said, I had my 10 years of going to the gym, and I had periods where I looked like super fit and felt really fit. But it always went like this,
And that's it.
And the thing is that one major part of everything in this is discipline.
Yeah.
But in this program, it's easier to keep the discipline than with the gym life. And that has mainly to do with the fact that there's also a fun element in it.
Yeah.
The workouts are a bit shorter.
Shorter, different. Yeah.
Like I said, more variation.
Yeah.
So
listen,
that's impressive. It's a cool program, and it's the first time in 10 years. I'm going to repeat myself a couple of times in this conversation, but this is the first time in 10 years, and that's why I'm so thankful for you, is that I'm actually steady in my weight and lean.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
In a period of those 3 months.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So that's
it's a bit annoying. It's a bit annoying when I look at it, I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it's like a miracle.
I was the rib guy.
Well, for me, it's a miracle. Like, whoa, for a longer period.
Because it's not like also you're not still living life. I think this is again where it's a good segue to the next kind of part of this conversation I want to have with you, which is about balance. It's about not just the fitness elements, but of course the nutrition.
Yeah.
And partying, family time, all those things. Like if any one of those
junk food,
if any one of those things has too much of a priority, the scales are unbalanced, and I think you see the negative effects. I mean, we know what, to give you a bit of science, like the downward spiral of someone who eats for comfort, and as they continue to do that, obviously the dopamine, there's a feeling that like, okay, this gives me a feeling of security, but it's also it's a bit of self-deprecation because you know that it's not good for you to overeat. But then at the same time the psychological elements happen, you've got signaling hormones in your fat cells called leptin, that when you're tuned well to listen to the leptin, when your brain is tuned well to listen to it, it will register that you are full. Your fat cells will say, whoa,
yeah,
we've just. But whereas if so many fat cells are communicating at the same time, it's like 1,000 ringing phones, not one of them gets answered. So you end up in this state where people who are bigger, unfortunately, and have gone down that path, they don't even get full. They never feel full because they're always kind of. They're not listening to the leptin, or they're unable to listen to leptin. So I think it's balanced, because I love crap food.
Yeah.
I love, you like some jar. I mean, I like all the bad shit with all the numbers and everything. I'm sure it's, there's going to have other adverse effects later down the line. But
sometimes I think, well, that's a lot of junk food that you get.
yeah. It's pretty disgusting.
Yeah.
But again, for me, it's psychological. It's part of, as a kid growing up, I used to have the Mondays, Tuesdays where we get this like tuck shop, like wine bars and all these iron brew bars.
Yeah.
And they were just full of trash.
Yeah.
But it made me feel good. I was a chubby little kid, and I had, issues with bullying and stuff as a kid. And this was
because of your weight.
Ish. I mean, it was also just the school I went to was pretty hectic. So, but no, at the same time, it was, I fought out of that through actually getting my first weight set when I was 13, and and I've kind of been on the other side of that since then. But
what was your motivation to really get into the sport, to getting fit? What is your
I think so. I never had a father growing up, so a lot of the iconography for the patriarchal figure in my life was Arnold Schwarzenegger. Was Terminator.
Oh, really?
Was Rambo.
Yeah.
And so I would look at these guys and look at my little jelly belly, and I'd be like, no, I want to look like that.
Yeah.
And I basically when
we
I
all had that.
I think even if you had the father, you still felt that way. But I think that really was the catalyst for me to kind of get into it and just kind of push. And I was big into film, and I loved a lot of that.
And what did your mother say when you shared that dream of I want to be like him? What did she say?
Yeah, my mom. I don't know how. Did I even share that with her directly? I mean, she knows I just used to. I had all the action figures. I had all the thing. So I think she's always. In fact, she used to call me a little action man. So I think she knew that was who I was. Yeah. Right, I mean, that's cool. At one point I'm like, I've got a big boxing bag in the backyard. I filled with diapers and like smashing it. was getting my younger brother to like hold the bag, and I just like I was doing everything again with ignorance, with naivety, but just that, you know, that was my sports, because I didn't do the sports like you. I didn't have these outlets, so I was terrible at football. My feet are just too big. I don't know what the problem is, but and so that was my outlet, and then that, you know, that became a thing. But like I said, similar to you, I went through these waves, up and down waves, and it's only when I studied it and understood and literally was with a personal trainer, giving me he was the lecturer, he was giving us the information, that he essentially was prescribing. He was saying, you need to not necessarily tell your clients this, but this is how it works. You know, it's about, because for them, and especially this is, 15 years ago, it was about very much codependency. This is before like everyone just putting stuff out there for the world to see. So it was about codependency. You don't let them in on the, you know, on the magic trick. You know, you don't show the behind the curtain. You just get in the room with them. Every hour that you're with them, you charge them. And so that was the mentality of a typical kind of personal trainer. Mm-hmm. So giving me that information, he was like, but this is how I train. And I did a circuit with him in 10 minutes. I was dead. And I was like, okay, well, this is much better. This is what I need to do. And so when I started doing it for myself, and I was working in an industry that was, you know, it was a very, call it black collar working, like in the sense of it was like the fashion industry, and it was magazines, publishing, etc. So I go to all the like fashion shows and stuff like that. And I worked with a bunch of, you know, predominantly women who were, you know, very into the aesthetic, and they saw me transform. And I wasn't in bad shape, but I clearly went into like the difference between being a little bit and then being really lean. And they were like, what are you doing? Yeah. And I was like, because they see me eating burgers every day as well. So they're like, what the fuck are you doing? And you're like, how are you doing this shit? And then so I told them, and I said, look, I'm happy to pass this information on to you. And then I ended up like training half the office. And then to be fair, for the first 5 years of doing this type of stuff, I did it always as a side thing. It was all women. Yeah. In fact, every man I ever had would do like 1 or 2 sessions and be like, no, don't worry. I don't know what it was, and maybe it's how I introduced it or whatever. This is the first time I've had, and since being in Valencia, I guess people who are perhaps more assured with themselves, or a little bit, I don't know, just more open to a man training them, if that makes sense. I'm not saying that, maybe it was just me, maybe it was just the timing and the hand.
Yes, but it's you cannot compare the vibe here to the black collar background, the city different life. It's just so different. This is a more open mentality. I agree.
I think, you know, this is why I'm, you know, doing this, and I want to do more of these things, because I genuinely do feel like, you know, there's great energy here. I think people who would have come from an environment that was much more of a pressure cooker and maybe weren't the best versions of themselves. Yeah. I mean, to like,
it's interesting.
They're open to like really looking at, I've done the same. I came here with the wrong energy. I came here with the, you know, thinking everybody's out to get me. And as I've been here for longer, I'm like, wow, no, actually it's just, you know, you treat yourself well, treat others well, and they pay it forward. And it just ends up being a nice, you know, symbiotic relationship. So just on going back to nutrition. So, you know, you mentioned obviously liking junk food. Do you want to talk a bit about, because I haven't really explained much about outside of Mega Meal Monday, but like the routine, because you're one of the people that actually follows pretty religiously what it is that we do.
Indeed. I have been quite disciplined in the program, and also one character of the program, what I feel is that it's quite easy to step out of it and get back into it again. Yeah. When you have
you got like a week grace, maybe 2 weeks grace.
Or even a day when you have 2 birthdays after each other. You're allowed to, you know.
Well, isn't it the first week we trained together? You had like a stag do and then another thing.
That's crazy. True. Yeah, and it didn't affect the system and the results at all. No.
Crazy. But some people are responders as well. So to be fair, we monitor AJ through one of the scales that puts a current through your body and then gives you all the breakdown of your skeletal muscle, your metabolic age, and all these things. And we do it on the same day every week, 8 a.m. on a Friday, just to kind of make sure it's pretty accurate. And I mean, look,
tomorrow morning again.
But the numbers speak for yourself. You've gone from, what was your original?
I started at 88, 87.
Yeah, but I mean, now what, you're like 81.
Yeah.
You know, but you've not lost any muscle mass. Like you've built skeletal muscle and you've just lost fat.
I think maybe I went down in muscular percentage, like, or weight, like maybe a half or 1 kilo.
No, it's most of it is.
But that was back then training really hard, especially for the shoulders. Now, way less.
I think I mean it's something that I'm starting to look into, which is all this things to do with creatine and stuff like that, because these are all other ways that if you wanted to just have more size, without necessarily changing the workouts, they can assist in that. I mean, this friend was telling me about a drug that's coming out where literally it's similar to Ozempic, but you hit yourself with it and you were just ripped. And I'm like,
we need it.
No, and I was like, don't take the shortcut, because there's so much benefit for the mind in terms of, it's all meditative what we did today, what we did.
That's it.
And I think that's kind of where I'm getting to. But yeah, sorry.
No, but I mean, about the nutrition, I mean, also about gaining that knowledge back from when I was 30 and started to read and watch YouTube and whatever. My change, or the biggest change, one of the biggest changes in the program, is that in this nutrition, you still have the opportunity to not have like a regular cheat day, but have like cheat moments and junk food. So for me, in this case, probably the main thing that I've changed before was the skipping the breakfast. I always used to have quite a big breakfast, like oats, berries, and all. Because
it was habitual. It was part of the.
Also, what you see from the daily articles or the daily YouTube.
Get those oats. Get the raw
oats, and berries, and honey, and banana. And then steak and fruit, and then you have like 4 or 5 big meals. You never feel empty. You're always full. You eat healthy stuff. In foundation, it's healthy.
Sure.
But your body never has time to process it. And like I said, that has been a big change, and I've been quite disciplined to that.
And I think that like understanding intermittent fasting and how
the intermittent fasting.
It's. I mean, as I said, people who don't, want to follow, to the letter, the way that I eat and you are eating as well. So just to break that down, we have a very cyclical.
No, but still, like I said, I mean. The nutrition part in this exercise or in this program would maybe in general have an idea with people. We know the nutrition is important, because everyone always say nutrition is more important than the training. But what I believe that in this program, the nutrition part goes to even another level. So not the basic shit we know, but a bit more science behind it, about the hormones and things like that. So that really impressed me. I
mean, you can see it on. I mean, the other thing, and the reason
I think that's the main thing that eventually had
the effects.
Had the effects and the results that I'm gaining now.
I mean, it's the age-old saying of like abs are made in the kitchen. Like it's
but
very.
This is still different. This is even furthermore. This is different from having the specific things you can eat and cannot eat. But this is mainly about creating this structure, creating this habits. About
looking forward to the Friday and the Saturday.
Tomorrow it's Friday.
Exactly. So just again to break it down. So there's a really large meal on the Monday. You basically have anything you want. It's called Mega Meal Monday, but that's the one meal that you have. So as you saw in the video, I had essentially 3 mains and some starters. It probably was actually a little bit less than I would normally have, but it's a good indicator. The following 3 days, so Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, I have a hypocaloric intake. And I don't count calories, but what I'm essentially saying is that you can see that the portion sizes and what you're eating is healthier. There's no refined sugar. There's nothing, there's mostly just whole foods if you can get access to that. So, piece of chicken breast, some rice, some Brussels sprouts, whatever, broccoli. It's still a sizable amount of food, but it's less than my body needs. And you do that consecutively for 3 days. Then on the Friday, you go into like this like warm up. I call it like the warm up for the weekend, and we really utilize those full 8 hours of intermittent fasting. You're open again to eat what you want, but no refined sugar if you can avoid it. But you can have as much in the way of carbohydrates. Like, I mean, I literally will have chicken and fries for breakfast, like that's how I do it. Or I make some jollof rice and stuff like that as well. Big food, loads of food. And I take full advantage of the 8 hours. And then it's Saturday. And Saturday is where, for me, it's, again, psychological. It's about having all the things I've denied myself. So it's ice creams, it's cookies, it's candy, it's crisps, it's anything.
Do you also think ahead in the sense of when you walk into a store on Wednesday?
Oh, fuck yeah.
And you buy something.
Dude, I'm buying it on Monday.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm buying Monday, Tuesday. I'm literally storing. Yeah. And I look, and it creates this thing. I mean, look, it's not for everyone. And I've got the other people who do this, but they just follow the intermittent fasting rule, and they still allow themselves a cheat here and there during the week, and that's fine. And it still works for them. But I think if you really want to get the most out of, effectively carb cycling and getting your metabolic rate to be always challenged, or your metabolism always challenged, it's about shocking your system. So the same conversation we were saying before about spiking leptin. So if you have a very low calorie intake all the time, your body starts to then go into a version of starvation where it will start to store more. You're actually releasing less leptin because it finds this complacency with whatever equilibrium you've created. And just by doing that, you're getting less out of the food, or you're storing probably more of the food as fat cells because your body's a bit scared, and you're probably releasing more stress hormones as well. And you're not really, psychologically, you're just not having fun with your food. It's just the same thing you're always having all the time because you want to keep in that parameter. Whereas if you had that kind of consistency and then have 1 or 2 days where you go, essentially for me anyway, crazy with your calorie intake and you indulge, your metabolism has to react to that. It's like, what the hell have you just done? And it starts, releasing more enzymes, more things to counteract all this increase in calories. And it continues to do that for 3 to 4 days afterwards. So once you've then had your fat a day, had your cake and eaten it, then you are then going back down, to a lesser amount of food that you're taking in, but your metabolic rate is still really high. So you're burning that food even more efficiently. So it's all about this, and this is why you saw with your metabolic rate and your scales, you've gone with, I don't know what you were at the time, you were over 40 before, but now you're like down to like 39 or 38.
31.
12. But yeah, you see this, and I've seen it with another friend of mine. Everyone who's doing this, you can see the results in that metabolic space, and that is really important.
And also, without talking about the history, also without counting the calories, which is so it's
a lot easier.
This is a lot easier, but counting calories is also a good theory or a good movement to get lean, to get fit, but it needs like it needs discipline, which is not a bad thing, but it also needs a lot of moments, 2-3 times a day sometimes, where you have to take your phone.
Yeah, check it. But there's also some interesting stuff that my cousin actually was a personal trainer in Vegas, and he was like, look, calories, and and I've seen this elsewhere as well, calories are recorded by the energy that's released from the food when you burn it. So it is a relatively good indicator of the energy, but people process food in different ways. Your blood type will mean that you're predisposed to process pineapple more efficiently or less efficiently, whatever it is. So the one shoe fits all concept with calories doesn't quite work.
Yeah.
Portions Portions have more of a connection with, like, this is why they say with the palm, this is your carbohydrate, this is your protein, and this is your fat, or there or thereabouts. Like having those kind of balanced meals that I've personally found, and he found in his career as a personal trainer, that was the most effective way to help his clients and even his family as well. Being in Vegas. So, but yeah, cool. So you're following this now, and just to wrap things up in terms of other things outside of fitness and food. I mean, do you find with your work? I mean, we've talked about this, but like just for the people watching, do you find that this is assisting your work stuff? Like, because you have more time now. I'm kind of leading the witness, but yeah.
Yeah, of course. I mean, dropping down from 6 days a week, maybe 1 to 1.5 hours in the gym, to 4 times 25 minutes.
Yeah.
And one time like double it. Yeah, that's more than the half,
Yeah.
So that's crazy. And it also gives you a lot of moments to do it somewhere in between, because it's only the 25 to 30 minutes.
Yeah.
It's easier to plan, you know?
Yeah.
And that's, I had a couple times that I missed the morning because I like to do it in the morning, like you as well. And then you have plenty of time to do it later in the day.
Yeah.
So I'm still surprised about the results in that sense, that you can achieve more, get even stronger, because
Oh man, like you said today, bro.
I have been starting in COVID. I put a pull-up bar in my garden, and I bought it on a second-handed marketplace online. Put it up, and I was training like really disciplined, counting calories.
Yeah.
And I'm quite a heavy guy for compared to other guys for my height. Close to 90 kilos.
This is at the
before
time.
I started.
Yeah.
And the maximum pull-ups I could do was back then was like 6, 7, and now I did my record like last week for 12, 13 pull-ups in a row. Yeah. Also because I lost weight.
You've lost like 6, 7, 8.
But then also it's like, you know, for the mind mentality to do less but achieve more.
Yeah.
That's something that I take to the philosophy in life as well. I mean, I have so many friends.
You were saying about friends who have the wrong balance.
Who are overworked and the wrong balance indeed. And so this is something that really contributes to the work balance life, which is,
I mean, I've seen this.
That's the most important thing.
I've seen this in you very much so. I mean, obviously it's been the holiday season, so there's been, you know, families elsewhere and all these other things going on. But there's just, you know, you've always been a happy person or like optimistic person. But, you know, you're also dealing with life challenges and hurdles all over the place. I've, you know, seen for myself that if I have this as my foundation, I'm more capable of dealing with other things. Agreed. I find because, you know, that same guilt feeling that kicks in if you don't feel like you've done enough, or you feel like you've overeaten, or you feel like you've done, whatever it is, that kind of feeds into the energy that you bring to other places. Yeah. So, you know, I'm still working on myself, and I still, my tolerance is not amazing, but it's definitely better. And I've seen this in you as well, in the sense of it just, true. You know, for the most part, you've always been happy, but there's occasionally when I say, you know, I can tell that the day has really got you. Yeah. But I feel like your bounce back is even quicker. Yeah. You're like, okay, this is how things operate in this place. Just fuck it. I can, you know, I can handle it, because, you know, your mindset it's just more focused. And I also think that is to do with intermittent fasting, because you aren't just allowing, like I describe it as the CPU, right? That's, you know, taking all this time to download a file, which is you digesting your food. And then when you don't have as much capacity for other things in your life. True. So once that is done and you're in your fasted state, and typically that's in the mornings, you're just like, I'm ready for the day. Yeah. You know, and I'm ready to like take. But I believe there are also elements, I mean, shocking your exercise, your body every week is also a bit an element of how to deal with new things, you know? Yeah, challenges, right? Yesterday, before yesterday, for example, the upper body exercise, I think it was the most difficult, challenging one until now, because you have to keep on focus on the push-up for 10 minutes. It was hard. I remember that yesterday we didn't train together, but I was alone. And I always remember, sometimes I made jokes about it as well, that you say, okay, take 5 seconds rest, and then do another one. Yeah. But that's also an element of how, again, deal with tough and challenging things. Do a box breath, you know, and then go again. And normally, when you have the machine gym lifestyle, you do your reps and you stop. Yeah. You take an extra break and you go to the next round. Yeah. But now, because we are working in seconds as well, you done your 12 reps, you get tired, you take 5 seconds and you do 13, 14, and 15. And then it really gets to, you know, that's the thing. So that's what I really learned from it. Oh my God, what is that thing? Anyway, so man, thank you so much for sitting with me and talking about. It's time to eat now. I've eaten already. How do you do that? Because you eat in the morning, or? Yeah, so I basically today is the rice and the greens, with the thing, and I wet brine the chicken. So I just do it, and I make the chicken stocks and I put that. So all of that stuff takes about 20, 30 minutes. And so I was like, I'm going to do that before, because if I was here super hungry, I think I'd be like...
But you haven't eaten?
No, I've eaten it already. I've eaten it already. So I just got everything out the way. After I work out, maybe an hour after that.
Okay.
But I find, even though I'm eating very early on and I won't eat again, like I just do not need for more food. Like my body kind of knows, okay, you're done now. And if you get hungry, you just have some water, you have some tea and stuff like that. That really kind of seems to...
But it's also
plus I know tomorrow
having the feeling that it's like empty. It's also
it's nice.
It's a nice feeling.
It's nice. But balance. It's always balanced. Too much of that and you're going to cause issues. Man, thank you, bro.
Thank you too.
Thank you guys for watching, and if you liked, then obviously like, and if you loved, then subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow for, I can't remember what I'm doing tomorrow, but there'll be a video tomorrow. All right, thanks so much.